Alright, we're done with our Smash Bros. Melee style hand warmers. Time to get this run underway.
Alright, so everyone's ready?
Sounds like it.
Alright. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wait,
So Cards, now that you got a chance to actually talk, why don't you tell us what spa service is?
Yeah, what's the plot like, too?
Yeah, so Team Rocket is essentially taking over the Puzzle League Spa, and they're gonna use this to capture all the Pokemon in Puzzle League Village. So yep, Ash has got to go and try and get all the Pokemon back. so Spa Service is a much different run from S-Hard. All you're having to do is there's a clear line, so many lines deep into each individual stage, and you just have to clear blocks and raise the line until you get to that clear line, and you clear the stage once you clear all of the blocks above that clear line.
And this mode's not too heavily focused on chains and combos. It's basically the way that we try to do it. We kind of just peer back and forth from left and right, and we'll just clear as much as we can. I mean, you can set up chains and stuff in the process.
All right, let's go.
This is a good pace. You generally want to finish these first few stages in under 20 seconds each. So this is going really well, and this shows why FFR Pro currently holds the world record in this category. He's just so quick and so efficient.
Also, a lot less RNG in this category, so it's much more consistent time.
Yeah, there's no CPU to deal with. The blocks are still randomly generated. It's a frame based block generation. There may be some pattern in the RNG, the random number generator just picks a spot in the pattern, but you can't really manipulate it very well. So there's still an aspect of a read and react to this mode, even if there is no CPU to deal with.
Well, in a sense, the way the blocks are randomly generated is just how you play the game. I guess like the only real reason to complain about RNG is if you're raising the stack and suddenly a column of 3 of the same color pops up and you can't raise the stack while those are detonating. So you would lose time while waiting for that, I guess. Yeah, this mode made its debut in Tetris Attack and was pretty much played the same way, although there was a stage in the middle where you had to fight Bowser, and instead of a clear line, you had to only do combos and chains to deplete Bowser's health bar.
There is a similar stage for that actually for Giovanni.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that similar thing in a little bit. There are 6 rounds in this mode, 5 stages in each round. So we're coming up on the end of round 1 here.
Yeah, and then the end Giovanni stage, and there's a bonus stage in between, which is the hardest part of the run. So when that comes up, we're gonna need complete silence so he can get through that.
Absolutely.
Show us what you got.
So the first 3 stages here is going to be the 2D mode here, and the final boss in the 4 through 6 stages will be using the 3D mode.
Yeah, and as you can see within each round, as the stages go on, the stack starts at a higher level than the previous stage, and also the speed level goes up gradually. So the further you go along, the harder it's supposed to be to clear, to get to clears of all the blocks. You want to be able to make some combos and chains to stop that rise from going on.
Well, I think most of the stack raising is going to happen manually. The other kind of speed is basically the difficulty level, the inherent difficulty level of this game. Basically, there's 3 different speeds in Tetris Attack, and this game too, I'm pretty sure. Like on easy, the blocks clear very slowly and also fall slower, and on medium and hard, respectively, they clear and fall faster and faster. It can be really hard to make certain skill chains with how fast the blocks can fall. But in this mode, you don't want to be making skill chains, which means like you start clearing blocks and then set up a chain in the time it takes for those blocks to detonate and then the next ones to fall. Instead, your cursor movement and your panel swap should be spent looking for combos and just clears in general, so you can get rid of all the panels as fast as possible.
Something that the hard difficulty also adds is a 6th color block, which can make it really difficult to find more clears.
I don't... Correct me if I'm wrong, but in this mode, we don't actually see the 6th color until the final stage.
Yeah, just
Oh, is
Giovanni.
that the case? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think it works the same way in Tetris Attack. Actually, I think maybe the later stage clear stages.
I think
have
the-
5 and 6 introduces the dark blue block in Tetris
Oh, that
Attack.
that sounds okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah, FFR Pro has the Tetris Attack panel scan on as well, whereas Cards of the Heart was playing with the new one made for Pokemon Puzzle League.
The Pokemon one's better.
No,
in my opinion.
I'm all about OG Tetris Attack. Even on Planet Puzzle League for DS, I use this skin.
I'm sure for a lot of people, depending on which one you played with first. And this game was my first exposure to the Panel de Pon series that this game and Tetris Attack are a part of.
Yeah, Panel de Pon was originally released on the Super Nintendo in Japan, and it's the same game as Tetris Attack and Pokemon Puzzle League, essentially. But the style of it was as anime, and Tetris Attack, they made it in the Yoshi's Island style to try and make it sell better in North America and other regions. And Pokemon was pretty much the replacement for Tetris Attack once Nintendo couldn't use the Tetris name anymore.
It's very interesting. I hear that there was going to be a planned sequel to Tetris Attack on the N64, either a Panel de Pon sequel or a Tetris Attack sequel. But the plans on that development fell through, and there was a Nintendo subsidiary, I want to say it was in Seattle, that bought the rights to use the engine, and then they basically took the engine and transformed it into what you see here.
Pokemon was huge at the time. A lot of the music in this game, although it sounds like elevator music, I think a lot of the themes are taken from that one Pokemon CD that came out that had all those other songs.
From that
and from the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if any of this music is sounding familiar to you, if you've watched the Pokemon anime or even have that CD, that's why it's sounding really familiar.
Why, James? Why do you get to dress like that?
Because he did on the show. I don't know if we ever saw that in North America, but he did.
Also, FFR Pro, question for you. What would you say is your general approach as to getting to the clear line as fast as possible? Do you want to try to raise the stack first and then clear blocks until you get to the clear line, or do you want to clear some blocks immediately and then raise the stack until you get to the clear line?
We're ready whenever you are.
I don't know. It depends on the stage. Some stages you can just raise a stack and the clear line will come. Other stages you'll want to like clear some blocks first before you raise the stack. Yeah, I think I cleared a little bit too much.
I've noticed that when you have a few blocks left, right before the clear line, say you have like only one panel resting above it, you tend to grab your cursor and drag it from the top toward the bottom, whereas I would slide all the ones underneath it so it falls straight down. I feel like that's slightly faster,
Prepare
but that's in Tetris Attack. I don't know about this game.
Yeah, I don't know if that's faster or not. I think it's the same.
Probably have time for a donation or two here.
Sure. We have $50 from Soken. Keep up the amazing work, everyone. Shoutouts to the whole crew who put this together and keep it up and running. And runners keep blowing my mind at every turn. You're all awesome. And $30 from Rothclaw Cloister. We love you, Cloister.
All right, we're at the very last stage before the bonus comes. After we're done with this in the bonus, you'll be seeing the 3D mode, which I think the strategies for that kind of change. You change it a lot because you're focusing on a lot more blocks, and the way I kind of do it is I'd go just in a clockwise pattern and kind of keep it even the whole time so you don't forget like a stack anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Oh, in 3D mode?
Yeah.
Yeah, in 3D mode, if you just go around chasing down your high towers, you'll just be going in circles forever. It's better to just clear constantly, and eventually your panels will fall and come to you.
All right.
Okay.
We're heading to the bonus stage right now. This is the most difficult part of the run, so
God.
if I could have
This
everyone
stage
just
was
be
Serious
quiet.
time. Serious time.
Payback time.
Hey, wake up!
Hey!
Oh, we did it!
Dang.
So intentionally losing sends you to the next stage here because that's not a mandatory part.
No, you just get a bonus cutscene if you manage to clear that stage.
Yeah, similar to Tetris Attack, you can take a dive and keep going, but if you win, that's cool too.
Anyway, if you're curious about how that stage worked, basically the enemy has a health bar and you lower their health by creating combos and chains, similar to the Game Boy Color version of this game, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. That fight is optional there, but Giovanni at the end goes by a similar formula.
Yeah, what is the exact combination to kill Giovanni, or should we save that to when we get there?
I think I know what it is, based on what it is for Bowser anyway. Actually, I don't know what it is for Bowser anymore, ignore me.
Giovanni has a bit more health than Bowser in Tetris Attack. Because you got the 3D mode, so you have more options for chains.
Yes, I'm trying to recall if it was a combo and a a single 5 chain that you needed to throw down at the end, or a 7 chain. Like I remember in one spa service race on Speedruns Live that we were having. I was talking about with the other people in the race at the time, just how much it took to get that kill, and I just happened to get it. It was quite an interesting moment.
5x chain and a combo sounds like enough for Bowser. In fact, I think just a raw 5x chain will do to Bowser.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Prepare to battle.
I think I'd like to take this time to point out if anyone is interested in trying to learn this game, don't be discouraged by the first time you pick it up, because it is a really hard game to just pick up and learn. I assume the rest of us that are on here, we've had just multiple years of playing this game.
Yeah.
And the skill just doesn't come right away, but there's lots of resources like we mentioned earlier with tutorials. There's a website online that still has a lot of like skill chains listed for that, and of course we have like races that we do all the time, and a bunch of runners at your disposal to help you with it.
Yeah, we are more than willing to help out with anyone trying to learn this game. So please find us on various social media, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with whatever questions you might have.
Yeah,
We don't always do S-hard races either. Sometimes there's lower difficulties that can be done, especially if there's newcomers that don't necessarily or not necessarily able to clear S-hard consistently yet. And so, there's very hard, normal, hard, etc., or even just spa service.
Or Puzzle University, right?
We don't talk about that.
We also do marathon races too, up to 100K. And marathon's actually really nice if you want to just get in the vibe of doing chains and combos and getting that sense without the pressure of the garbage blocks. So I remember I was telling people last year when people were asking me how to get better, I was saying, do marathon mode on easy to start off with, and then you can get that feel for when to do chains and when to do combos. And this is really just an experience game where the more you play it, the more you can see, and the more you can see, the better you do.
Yeah, I feel like it was not too long ago where the only thing I could do in this game was make a vertical 5 combo. I had to set up all my chains in advance, and then Just one day while playing Endless Mode in Tetris Attack, I was just kind of bored watching my panels clear and go, huh, I could have got a chain if I did that. And then before I knew it, my hands got fast enough to just do the stuff I was able to see. So if you just play this game enough, I think you'll just acquire the vision for stuff all at once. And then it'll come to you pretty easily. So, I mean, this looks really impressive, but it's not as overwhelming as it looks, trust me.
The thing that really takes more practice is just getting vision for the field. Well, that is something that definitely takes time.
And for those who are interested in versus mode as well, I think there are lots of places to just play versus mode with other people. And I did make a highlight on my Twitch channel for like some tips for what to do against people, but it was kind of sloppily made with no editing tools. So
We're ready whenever you
let's pretend that never happened.
The last Panel to Pawn game that had online play was Planet Puzzle League for the Nintendo DS. Unfortunately, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection service isn't up anymore, so there isn't any official way to do online games anymore. So if anybody from Nintendo is watching this right now, we want another Panel to Pawn game.
Absolutely.
There is a pretty big community, I think, for it. Maybe not all of them speedrunning, but there's definitely a lot of people who play the various games. So please make another one.
Yep, Chillin' Dude's brother Azin, the famous Smasher, still has a reputation for being really good at this game. So, like, there we go. There's at least one famous player out there. At least one person who's determined to play, I guess. I still hear people saying, I want to go to Apex and play Azin. So there's people out there with bounties on him, too.
Azin, if you're watching, I challenge you to a $100 money match. If we ever meet.
I side bet 50 on Forky.
Oh, the call-outs.
All right, little quirk that just happened on this stage. You might, if you were paying very close attention to the beginning of 5-1, you look at the beginning of 5-2, and oh, the stack got lower. Isn't it supposed to like go up with every stage? Well, yeah, normally that is the case, but I can only assume that the developers play tested the game through here, and I guess with the speed level and the height of the stack, it just wasn't going to be feasible for most players to try and beat it. So here the stack actually got lower from one level to the next. It's a very interesting quirk.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure FFR will actually clear like all of stage 5 faster than he did 4 too, because of that reason.
We could probably get a few more donations in here.
Okay. We have $30 from Anonymous. I'm staying up all night to watch, but I don't care. You guys are amazing. Also, save the animals. We have $125 from PA Master. Donated to get this run done during Roundabout, and donating again now to support Pokemon Puzzle League. The one true esport has taken its place at SGDQ. And another $25 if this gets read on air, and I'll try to talk my friends into doing the same.
Nice.
So, yep, pick up. Baby. Anyway, sorry, I'm just so happy this game is in. It's just like you have, like, I'm sure people in the audience, if you see them on the VOD back, if they occasionally look to their right, it's probably just because I'm over here like freaking out. And then one more here, $10 from Ventus Nightmare. No matter how much I try to resist Jiggleypuff singing, it's putting me to sleep. I have watched almost every run, and the soothing sound of the Jiggly is too much. I'm so glad I've been able to watch GDQ for so many years. Keep it going, guys. You're doing fantastic.
Yeah, for those who are curious, Jigglypuff sings if your panels are one row away from touching the top. So Tetris Attack had an alarm clock that would yell stop, just to show that your stack had indeed stopped. And you can see the stop next to Jigglypuff there.
Yeah, when Jigglypuff is singing, the stop time lasts a bit longer than normal. I believe it's about 50% longer.
That sounds right, actually.
It doesn't happen like that in Versus, as far as I know, and the stop time is dependent on the difficulty or the speed that the game is on.
Yeah, I think the difficulty has increased to hard, judging by how quickly the panels are falling and clearing. It can be really hard to keep up with this by just moving your cursor around. Most people would struggle to make a skill chain longer than 5 links.
Prepare to battle.
We are now to the last round of the 3D mode. The speed is a lot more harder, and the line clears are a lot farther down too.
Yeah, you can just barely notice that clear line at the very bottom of the screen. It's really gonna take a lot of clearing to get to the line.
Yeah, you can definitely see at stage 6 here how quickly the blocks are breaking and falling. Compared to the lowest difficulty, the blocks drop twice as fast. So getting skill chains is extremely difficult for that reason. And on top of that, the stop time, as you can see, is capped at 3. So you gotta be quick.
As FFR Pro is, as always, masterfully displayed here. Very good quickness on display here.
The nice thing about 3D mode is you can see the back of the playing field from behind, so you saw him racing around to the end, yeah, at the end, to get to the back and flatten out the stack just to get under the line. It's usually how stage clear mode ends.
Shoutouts to Puff here.
Yeah, one of the things that tends to happen when you play this mode, you will often be setting up so many advanced chains, and there will be so many blocks on screen that a lot of times you'll just be circling around on the other side of the field, just trying to clear stuff, and Jiggleypuff will just be continuing to make noise behind you. You'll be making chains without actually seeing them. It's quite the sight to behold.
Yeah, you can make some pretty ridiculously huge chains on 3D mode by just setting up horizontal skill chains and just watching it go around and around and spiral downward. You can get over 20 links in your chain easily. But like we said during the Versus mode run, making a chain larger than 13 or 14 is useless. The garbage block won't be any bigger. I know in Tetris Attack, for the scoring modes, if your chain gets bigger than 13 times, the programmers forgot to award an appropriate point value, and it won't give you any bonus points for a chain that large. They'll just count for 10 points per panel or whatever the minimum score value is. So you have to remember to stop your chain. I'm not sure how scoring in this game works, though. I assume they fixed it.
Yeah, it was fixed here. I think it's after the times 15 chain, which would normally trigger the mystery sign to show up in Versus mode. I believe it's after times 15, the game just awards the same chain score for each additional chain.
But it's larger than 13, right? It's actually worth it to make your chain go on as long as possible.
I think 14 is the last time it increases. So once you hit the 15, you'll still get like that same multiplier. It just, that multiplier won't increase at all. So let's say it'll be like around 1,000 or 2,000 points for it.
Yeah, interestingly, in Tetris Attack, after times 13, it just says times question mark. But in this game, it does tell you how big your chain is, although the garbage block on your opponent's side will just stop at 13, I believe.
Mm-hmm. There's actually an option where you can switch it too. So sometimes you can still have the question mark, and you can turn it off to figure out how big your chain is.
Don't turn it off, keep it on.
Right, because BB Forky strats are mystery strats, which requires a question mark. So,
for those who like their swag mysterious.
So this is the last stage before Giovanni here, and the Giovanni fight can be pretty difficult because, as we mentioned before, the block breaking speed is really high.
And you also have to contend with that dark blue triangle, a different panel, and it makes a huge difference for looking for combinations. It just seems like there's a humongous drought of possible plays that you can make for getting combos and chains.
Way to go!
We can probably sneak in one more donation before Giovanni here.
All right. We have Joshy2 donating $20. I've been watching GDQ for the last couple of years and usually try to donate a little. I've been holding off from donating due to tighter funds, but now I have to support a cause near and dear to my heart, putting this money towards begging Nintendo to make a new Panel to Pawn game.
All right, and time will be right after this, and he's just going to go for the biggest chain possible and maybe throw in a combo or two in between here. The speed and level is really, really high on this too, and with the new color block in. And
Nice!
What's time on that?
25:03.
Wow, that's like 4 seconds off world
14
record, isn't it?
seconds off
Oh,
the world
14.
record.
That's,
14 seconds off world
that's
record.
crazy.
Yeah. All right. Wow, that was really good.
I'll say.
I think we want to give out some quick shout outs to everyone back home that runs this game that couldn't make it. We're fortunate to have like 2 runs in the past 2 years since we had Puzzle Challenge last year. Shout outs to all the crew that's been working all week and working hard to make this marathon run, and everyone staying up and everyone who donated. We really appreciate you letting us run this game in the marathon.
Yeah, so really.
Yeah. Shout outs to the Puzzle crew for being totally awesome throughout this whole week. Shout outs to everybody at home cheering me on. Love you all. And last but not least, shout outs to the FFR community for cheering me on, representing them.
For the previous 20 FFR pros who came before you.
Shout out to Cards of the Heart because he is the Puzzle League god.
Yeah, that's why he won the tournament.
You're too kind.
Shoutouts to all the Nintendo of America people I played at the tournament in PAX 2013. Apparently they grind that game on level 10 every lunch hour, and they're amazing.
Oh my goodness.
They helped take my play to the next level.
But that is Pokemon Puzzle League, and thanks for watching, everybody.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was Pokemon Puzzle League by Cards of the Heart and FFR Pro 21. Next off, we have the Legend